This episode has been brought to you by My Extraordinary Productions. Can't find the right actors? We can cast your project with you. Click the link in the description to learn more. Hi everyone! So today we are going to talk about open calls versus scheduled auditions, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons of each one, and then I'll tell you my personal preference as both an actor and as more of the producer casting person. So an open call is basically when you say, I am having an audition for such and such production. I want everyone to show up between the hours of whatever and whatever, and then I will put up a cast list at some point. Versus the scheduled audition where you go around saying, I want you to show up at 11 o'clock. I want you to show up at 11:15. I want you to show up at 11:30. So the first pro of the open call is that you are filtering through people as you're meeting them, which can save you time. If you have 2 days to audition a bunch of people, the open call would allow you to audition people for both days, whereas the scheduled audition, you may have to use day 1 to schedule everyone, and day 2 would be your one and only audition day. Another pro of the open call is that you could meet people in your community you wouldn't ordinarily get to meet. I would recommend an open call if you lived in a more rural area where it doesn't make sense for actors to be on Backstage and have an Actors Access account. And I would also recommend it for small community theater productions or for high school productions. Now, when you are pre-screening people for your scheduled auditions, yes, that does take some time up front, but you may end up with a more manageable schedule. It's the difference between working a single 16-hour day and working 2 8-hour days. One very shallow advantage to the scheduled audition is that during the pre-screening process, when you're making all sorts of judgmental comments about how someone is very character looking or someone has a limited range, God, I hope I'm not character looking and I hope my range isn't limited. It's a lot harder for these people to hear your horrible, judgmental comments. I mean, I'm sure some people don't see that as a pro, but I do. With a scheduled audition, it's typically easier to give your actors a chance to prepare for the audition. With an open call, everyone's just kind of figuring it out as they go, whereas with a scheduled audition, it's a little easier to say, here are the sides to learn, here is the song to learn. I mean, honestly, you could do that with an open call as well. It's just that the way an open call is structured, it's a little more likely that you're going to be throwing curveballs at each other. Another pro, and probably the most important one for the scheduled audition, is that your actors are more likely to show up. When I had open calls and I said, yeah, come anytime between 9 and 3 or whatever the hours were, people had a habit of saying, you know, it's 9, I don't have to be there right now. It's 11, I don't have to be there right now. Well, it's 2, I really don't feel like going at this point. I guess I'm not going to show up. Whereas if you schedule auditions, you are creating an expectation. People are more likely to say, I am expected to be there at 1:15, so I am going to show up at 1:15. I don't know if this has been implied through what I've said, but in case it hasn't been, I personally prefer scheduled auditions as both an actor and as a producer. As a producer, it's just easier on me to say, this is what we're doing, and then everyone knows what we're doing. And it's just easier to set everyone up for success. It's easier to have 5 people show up who I know are going to be good versus 500 people potentially show up and like, oh, I got to do all the filtering that day. Oh, that's going to be super long and arduous. And it is just so much easier. Plus, no one can hear my horrible comments. One thing about open calls that happens is that someone inevitably says, can you believe this person showed up? Like, dude, it was an open call. You literally said anyone can come. You can't get upset when they do. As an actor, I also prefer scheduled auditions because open auditions have a habit of going on for a while, and then you're kind of just sitting around for a while, and you're going to be tired and miserable, or your nerves are going to get the best of you, and you just can't sit still. And neither one of those is my best work. Open calls often end up having a group audition portion, if not the whole thing as a group audition, and I just personally don't like the group audition format because what I tend to observe is one actor will say a take one way, and the next 50 will say it the same exact way because they're all watching each other. Let's pretend the line is, "You must board my boat." And the first actor says, "You must board my boat." Well, the next 20 actors are going to say, "You must board my boat," with that inflection. And number 21 will figure out, okay, I need to change my inflection in order to stand out. So this person will say, "You must board my boat." And now you've got another 20 actors saying, "You must board my boat," because they think that's how they're supposed to do it now. They're copying that guy to stand out. But now number 42 at this point realizes, okay, in order to say this line differently, I've got to come up with a different inflection. God knows if it's going to be good or not. Anyway, you end up with a bunch of people doing the exact same thing. Everyone's watching each other. Instead of becoming about the artistry and about saying, this is what I can offer, this is my brand, it becomes a bunch of people copying each other. I understand that group auditions sometimes have to happen. I usually do not like them. Well, we're going to see if this is editable. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped one or two of you out. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on social media, leave your questions and comments below, and I will see you all next time.